My name is Stefano Fratta, and I work for Telefonica Digital, which is a subsidiary that Telefonica created 3 years ago to basically develop the new digital services for the whole Telefonica group across the whole footprint, so Europe and LATAM included. Today, what I would like to do with you, and sorry, I have a few slides, but just keep them there just so that you have something to remind yourself of the message, is look at the policy debate rather than a text regulation and give you some more background from a digital telco perspective. So what we have today is a policy debate which is very complex. We've seen it just now in the last hour or so. But is also focused, unfortunately, at the moment, only on a very, very small segment of the internet value chain. So you see all these people here, all these companies here, all the companies are somehow involved in order to provide the service that finally reach the end user, the little red dot at the right of the screen. And that at the moment, we're still focused on just the carriers, what the Americans call the carriers. Well, this is a view that might have been a problem, or might have been appropriate, let's say, 10 years ago. That's no more the case. It just, the debate about net neutrality as it is today is really a relic of the past. And try to fix it now means that we're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist anymore, if it ever existed, and we're not really looking at the real problem for the future. But also the other thing is that, and it was clear from the debate that we've seen this morning, is that people still do not maybe entirely grasp the way that telco companies now have to interact with their own customers. I understand that there might have been issues in the past when, when there were monopolies or when we're getting out of the monopoly where, the relationship between telcos and customer was slightly different. But thanks to the work that the European Commission has done in the last 20 years, telco markets are incredibly competitive today. And what we have is that in order for us to thrive and succeed, we need to put the customer at the heart of what we do, and what we want to do is to empower the customer to make the right choices and to select and to decide what he wants in an open and innovative internet. And what I'm here today is to give you like a few examples of what we want, but mostly to underline two concepts that should underpin any debate on net neutrality, which are competition and transparency. Like these are the two key words that should rule any debate about net neutrality. And you will see that while today we touch a little bit on the transparency issue, and while I think as Telefonica we agree on the need for more transparency in the way we manage our networks, in the way we public information about that, there is still very little debate about competition and about the role of competition in the way the internet works. And that is where I would like to take you today. So if you look at the next slide, you just look at how the market has changed since in the last few years, since 2007, since the arrival of the iPhone. Just telco markets are incredibly competitive. Prices have been going down, number of competitors have increased. We have loads of MVNOs that have arrived in the different countries in the last few years. We are a very, very competitive industry. And what I would like to suggest today is that with the right legislation, we as telco operators can bring competition into the internet world. With the wrong legislation, with the wrong net neutrality legislation, you are going to force the competition that telcos can bring into this market to move away, and you are going to have an internet which is far less competitive than it could be. And I'll give you just a few examples. Let's start with this. You know that in most markets, while most telco markets are very competitive, and you have operators with a 20, 30% market share, 3, 4 players trying to kill each other in order to gain another customer. You have examples here of different monopolies in the internet world, or different companies, monopolies or duopolies, that somehow dominate this market. We know some of this. What I would like to draw your attention now is the last one, the one at the bottom. I now live in the UK, I live in London, and in the UK, if you look at the situation on the OTT video market, you have two companies that at the moment dominate this market. One is LoveFilm, which is an Amazon company, and the second one is Netflix. If you look at the commercial offers today that these two markets have on the website, if you go today, you'll see that both of them have exactly the same pricing structure. Both of them say you have the first month for free if you want to try the service. As of the second month, you'll pay £5.99. exactly the same offer. What I'm here to say today is that contrary to what Guillermo was saying before, contrary to what a lot of people were saying before, we can bring competition into this market. If we have the right net neutrality legislation, we as telco operators can bring these prices down. We as telco operators can bring you the possibility to choose which one you want to have and can force the OTTs to bring the prices down or to bring different models in a market that at the moment looks like a duopoly with very little choice for the customers. How do we do it? Well, precisely as we give the customer the opportunity to choose between different business models. These are some of the, like what I put here in the slide, are some of the examples of things that we are currently doing at the moment as Telefonica Digital, that we are developing for the Telefonica Group. These are examples of things that we will probably not be able to do with the wrong net neutrality legislation. If we go back to the OTT example, to the Netflix example, then imagine that tomorrow we say we strike an agreement with Netflix or with Amazon or with any other OTT company, and we'll say, well, it's like, we will say, you Netflix or Amazon, you pay us a little bit, and then in exchange, we will tell our Telefonica customer that the traffic that they use in order to download or to stream your movies is not going to go against their allowance. You have seen already the example of this in the market. What does it mean? That we strike this agreement with Netflix, then Amazon will have to react, and they will have a different agreement with maybe Vodafone or maybe Hutchison or maybe Everything Everywhere. Or they will lower the prices and will say, well, I cannot offer you the same condition that Netflix does, but instead of £5.99, you're going to pay £2 or £3, something like this. This is what we see as an opportunity for us as telco operators. This is what we see an opportunity for our customers. And this is something that we would not be able to do if we had the wrong net neutrality legislation in place, if we have strict non-discrimination provision that affect our ability to strike commercial agreements with OTT players. And this is not necessarily about picking the winner. We said before that telco operators or network operators are not allowed to pick the winner. We're not picking the winner. We are giving our customer the option to pick the winner. And that's a clear difference that we need to do. So the example of Spotify is the same. Like Telefonica signed an agreement already with Spotify in Spain, where we're basically saying, if you're a Telefonica customer, then only for you, Spotify monthly fee for Spotify Premium is not going to be 10 euros, it's going to be 5 euros. Why shouldn't we be able to do that? Are we picking Spotify as a winner in the streaming market? I don't think so. We're just giving our customer the possibility to pay less for what they want to have, for the music they want to listen. We sign an agreement now with Rhapsody for the same in the other Latin countries. Television. We talk a lot about television, about the possibility for operators to set up their own TV, IPTV in our cases, to compete into the TV market. Now, some people say, well, if we have most of the bandwidth that get into the customers' houses occupied for our television, there is very little bandwidth available for other services, which is true. But what you miss is the picture about the TV market. I mean, look what BT is doing in the UK, for instance. It's like UK used to be a sort of like monopoly, let's say, in pay TV for Sky. Now BT bought all the TV rights for football, for rugby, and is bidding heavily on their TV proposal as a big game changer in the pay TV market. We aim to do exactly the same thing this year for Spain. It's like we are bringing competition into a TV market that has been relatively stiff for the past years. This is just telcos bringing more in markets where there is little. And we have I have other examples here in the slide. I don't know, I don't think I have enough time to go through that. But let me go to the end of the presentation because the summary is important. It's like I think today we're in a situation where probably for the first time in many years, I'm very happy to support the European Commission. I'm very happy with the European Commission approach, and I'm just afraid of how the Commission proposal can be twisted and changed in ways that can ultimately be very detrimental for the European customer. So if you look at what we have in the Commission proposal, certainty, clarity, and commercial flexibility, these are the three elements that we really like, and these are the three elements that should remain as the main pillars of any net neutrality legislation. If we move away to these three pillars, then we really risk to create a significant long-term damage to European customers. That was it.